This is Nicholas from Presence of God Ministry, located at remnantofgod.org. What I would like to do in this video is share some articles that can be important to Christians, especially in these last days. This first article is titled, Americans Do Not Have Right to Choose Food. A Wisconsin judge has decided, in a fight over families' access to milk from cows they own, that Americans do not have a fundamental right to consume the milk from their own cow. Well, with this type of unjust law, one can expect lawmakers will build on it in coming days to make sure even more rights of the people disappear. For example, the September 11 spawned Rome land security laws prove this hands down. It really doesn't matter. Let them have their day, as long as the Lord allows. When Jesus gets here, we won't have to deal with such power-crazed demands any longer. Still, keep praying for our leaders because they too deserve what we have been promised. That being, of course, eternal life. This next article is titled The Mysterious Suicide That Has Rocked the Vatican. On Sunday morning, in July, a gunshot rang out of the administration section of Milan San Raffaele Hospital. Seconds later, a frightened secretary entered the office of the institution's vice president, Mario Cal, and found him lying in a pool of blood. Now, Jesus clearly stated 2,000 years ago that it is by their fruits ye shall know them. It's that simple. And by the way, this isn't the first time someone has been killed inside the Vatican. I'm sure it won't be the last time either. This church is all about death since day one. The 500 million Christians killed by this church makes this clearly their main fruit. This next article is titled, 27 years, no deaths from vitamins. 3 million from AMA drugs. Over the past 27 years, the complete time frame that the data has been available, there has been 0 deaths as a result of vitamins and over 3 million deaths related to prescription drug use. In fact, going back 54 years, there have been only 11 claims of vitamin-related death, all of which provided no substantial evidence to link vitamins to the cause of death. The news comes after a recent statistical analysis found that pharmaceutical drug deaths now outnumber traffic fatalities in the U.S. Now, the only reason this is being allowed to continue like this is because the AMA dumps millions of dollars into the hands of politicians each and every month so as to assure they can continue making money. This is par for the course in these last days, and we have to get used to this. Money now means much more to most in power than does the lives of their fellow men. All right, this next article is titled, Millions of Bees Mysteriously Die in Florida. Florida officials are abuzz as to how millions of honeybees were killed in Brevard County. Several beekeepers in the county have reported lost counties this week. Charles Smith of Smith Family Honey Company told Stuart News Thursday he lost 400 beehives. He says the bees appeared to have been poisoned. Poisoned? Well, I have no doubt the chemtrails had something to do with this, but to have someone actually poison them, I doubt that. Reason being is this isn't the first time there has been a massive kill-off of bees lately. It has been attributed to chemtrails, yes, and some cell phone wavelengths and whatnot, but it's really hard to put a beat on it as to actually what's happening here, but the overwhelming obvious thing here is they are dying. And this massive die-off isn't going to be the last one, I'm sure. And to get an idea how bad it is out there, check out the URL that you see on the screen right now. There are all sorts of strange deaths going on in wildlife. All right, this next article is titled, Obama Marched with New Black Panthers. Newly resurfaced photographs show President Obama appearing and marching with members of the new Black Panther Party as he campaigned for president in Selma, Alabama in March of 2007. BigGovernment.com posted the photographs, reporting the images were captured from a Flickr photo sharing account before they were scrubbed. Now, this is not good for Obama, of course, but what amazes me is that this wasn't brought up back then so as to prevent what Rome did using Obama the last few years. Still, it's looking more and more like Obama won't be in the Oval Office in 2012, unless, of course, he wags the dog and generates a problem that suspends the elections. And just so you know, the new Black Panthers started in 1989 and were led by Nation of Islam minister Khalid Abdul Muhammad in the 1990s to 2001. Just one more piece of evidence proving Obama is in fact a Muslim. If you want dozens more facts regarding this, check out the URL you see on the screen right now. Pastor to be put to death for rape, not apostasy. And it says, Christian pastor Yusuf Nedarkhani will be put to death for several charges of rape and extortion, charges that differ greatly from his original sentence of apostasy. the semi-official Fars news agency reported Friday. In other words, as prophesied, he will be accused and executed for crimes he did not commit simply because he is a Christian. They did this to Jesus 2,000 years ago, and the Vatican did this to hundreds of millions as well. Iran knows to kill him for religious reasons will strain their relations with the Vatican, who is presently working at forcing all religions to gather under her roof in their ecumenical one world church charge that Vatican II talks about. So as Rome has done so often in the past, they have now convinced the leaders in Iran to swap the charges so as to allow the Christians to die anyway, but not in the way that depicts religious intolerance. All right, this next article is headlined, "A Russian Sect Honors Putin as a Saint." Mother Fotina once led a center for cosmo-energetic medicine, and now she prays to Vladimir Putin. Her sect in a village east of Moscow honors Russia's once and future president as a reincarnation of St. Paul. The group represents a rising trend in Russia, but its origins are surprisingly mundane. Well, prophecy says Rome will once again rule the world via the Vatican. As we also know, the Vatican's Pope declares himself a god on earth in writing quite often. And as history proves, so did Caesar's Herod. Therefore, for Rome to be truly as she was before, her governors, or Herods as they were once called, must rule the prophesied 10 kingdoms in the New World Order, what they call the Club of Rome today. These men will no doubt seek worship by the blinded masses they rule over. This is why Obama has been prayed to, and actually given the title as Messiah more than a few times. This is also why Putin is being prayed to right now. And I'm sure if someone told you just 10 years ago that a Russian leader would be worshipped or an American president would be tagged Messiah, you would laugh out loud. Not so funny now, is it? All right, this next article is titled, "Kazakhstan Prohibits Churches in Private Homes." Long antagonistic to a wide spectrum of religious faiths, the former Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan passed new regulations that critics are calling a blow to religious freedom. The Kazakh House of Parliament approved the bill Thursday. Backers say it will help combat religious extremism. As a result, it will be legal to be a Roman Catholic, but illegal to be a Southern Baptist. This new law has simply legalized the current practice of persecuting unregistered minority religious groups. Just like some countries use terrorism to pass unjust laws, they will use extremism to try and stop Christians from gathering. And the fact Antichrist religion of Roman Catholicism is now considered legal, but all other religions illegal, is nothing short of a harbinger as to how it will be globally very soon. Still, it was illegal for Christians to meet in the catacombs 2,000 years ago, but that didn't stop a single Christian from obeying God rather than man. However, laws like this will separate true Christians from the lukewarm ones, I'm sure. Truth is, the shaking has already begun. Now, do you see why the Vatican used Lyndon Johnson back in 1954 to invent the 501c3 tax-free code that most churches today have signed up for so they can receive government funding as long as they agree not to preach prophecy? Soon, those churches in America, or any other nation for that matter, that haven't registered with the government will find themselves in real trouble. So be it. This is where our God shines the most. This next headline is titled, "The Muslim President After All." Election 2012. Hispanics, blacks, and others among President Obama's base may be abandoning him, but Muslims are holding fast. Apparently, theirs is a special bond born of shared interests. Well, finally, a mainstream media admission that Obama is in fact a Muslim. What took them so long? Well, they were waiting for an election year to speak up. After all, this is when the gloves usually come off anyway. Truth is, I have literally dozens of documented facts proving Obama is in fact a Muslim. But I like this one in the stack just the same. By the way, do you recall how it looked kinda bad for Clinton when he was heading for the second term? There was talk of him causing a problem that would allow for suspending of the election so as to gain a second term by default. I mean, after all, he did start a war to try and squelch the Lewinsky scandal. Still, Clinton had popularity on his side. Obama is now looking at the same problem. He wants a second term, so the scuttlebutt has started again about suspending the elections. But now it looks more probable as Obama's popularity has tanked. More than a few predict he will lose by a landslide. Rome needs this Muslim in office, though. Unless they can find someone to replace him that will bow to the Pope like he does, one can only imagine how they will get Obama to stay in the Oval Office. In any event, pray that they don't cause another September 11th. Rome is very evil, killing tens of thousands or even 500 million as they did from 538 to 1798 doesn't seem to faze them in the least. But then, this is to be expected of the prophesied house of Antichrist. All right, this next article is titled, Priest Under Fire for Serving Communion to a Dog. The Anglican Church in Canada is dealing with fallout following a published report that a priest gave communion to a dog. Now, keep in mind, as of 2009, the Anglican Church has become an official Roman Catholic church under the authority of the Pope. This is what happens when your theology is wholly based on the flesh and not on the creator of that flesh. Giving communion to a dog is downright demonic. Yet, in today's end-time society, one can't expect a major exodus from this church no matter what they do. Most people simply don't love God anymore. But then Jesus did say when he comes back, there will be little faith to be found anyway. See that in Luke 18, verse 8. Okay, this next and final article is titled, Till 2013 Do Us Part? Mexico mulls 2-year marriage. Leftists in the city's assembly, who have already riled conservatives by legalizing gay marriage, proposed a reform to the civil code this week that would allow couples to decide on the length of their commitment, opting out of a lifetime. Okay, first of all, the homosexuals ask for the right to marry, and because they only seek to mock God's blessing of marriage in the first place, they now want a way to opt out of the marriage easily. This is truly satanic on all counts. They mock the marriage by marrying homosexuals, and now they allow the homosexuals to get out of the marriage after they have their fling. After all, the homosexual lifestyle has never been known to be monogamous by any means. I mean, promiscuity is their main fruit. Our society is truly as Jesus said it would be when he returns. It's just like Sodom and Gomorrah. And by the way, this new law will also allow heterosexual marriages the option to dissolve marriages within 2 years as well. Satan needs this mockery to become the norm, and he used the homosexual community to do it. I mean, this is so sad. If they only knew how much Satan hates them and how much Jesus loves them, they wouldn't look at his word as hateful as they do. The Lord's way is truly filled with peace and happiness, but the enemy of their souls has gotten them to look at their own flesh for the happiness. Please keep praying for them. They deserve Jesus just as much as we do. I hope and pray you were blessed by what was shared in this video. God bless.